welcome back to another episode of Chatting with Craft Atelier. Okay, so this episode is going to go online in the month of September. And this time around, we're going to talk about handmaking projects for gifting.
Yeah, most hand-making gifts require time.
Yeah, they take time. So we kind of realized that we shouldn't push out this video too late because you probably want your presents ready by early part of December, especially if you intend to post them to family or loved ones overseas.
And if you have multiple gifts to make, multiple recipients, then yes, you need to start planning your schedule to see what kind of gifts are manageable in your schedule. Right.
Yeah. So like maybe multiple works in progress that you can cycle through. It's also good to have multiple works in progress. Some of you who know us for a while would know that. So I have some issues with carpal tunnel and pinched nerve. So I have multiple WIPs that I cycle through on a weekly basis. Like every day I work on different things so that I give my hands a chance to do different things.
Yeah, my problem is different. I find repetition for some projects a bit boring from time to time. So I need to stimulate my senses by looking at different colors, different textures,
different patterns
all the time. So I usually have at least about 6 to 8 projects ongoing.
Yeah. So if you are, maybe a bit do not want to talk about your multiple uncompleted WIPs, then you're in a very safe space with us because we have that.
I just counted yesterday to one of our customers. I have about 10 projects ongoing right now.
Okay. So maybe we can start by talking about. I can share about one project that I'm kind of hand making. I think I might have posted it on Instagram when the yarn arrived.
The photo of the half-finished thing went out in our newsletter also.
Oh yes, the photo of the half-finished thing went out in our recent September newsletter. So this is the Varsity hoodie. So this is made from the Cumulus yarn that recently we brought back, or rather we saw at H&H Americas, and we put in an order for it. And this is what it has come up to, one example of what you can make with it. So this pattern is called the Varsity hoodie pattern, which I found on Ravelry. My daughter actually picked out this pattern, and she's the one who picked up the yarn. So my second daughter is 12 this year, so this is her PSLE year. She picked this materials out, about 2 weeks before her prelims, and the aim is for me to finish it before she takes her PSLE exams at the end of September, so at the end of this month. Because this is a DK yarn, the Cumulus is a DK yarn, and the pattern, it's very fluffy DK, and the pattern requires you to hold 2 strands. So what I do is I hold the inside, the center pole, and the outside, so that at any point in time, I just have to carry this one ball instead of 2 balls of yarns. It knits up very fast actually. It took me less than 2 weeks to do the front panel and the back panel. And then maybe another 1 to 2 weeks to do the sleeves. Now the sleeves went a bit slower.
The front and
I had to do a break.
The front and back didn't take that long. I think less than 2 weeks we were done.
Yeah, about 1+ week I was done. The sleeves took a bit longer because my nerves are starting to not like the repetitive work of knitting. So the sleeves I had to take a break in between, but the sleeves are done. They're all attached. The hoodie is done after you have pieced together the front, back, and the sleeves. Then you do the hoodie, and now I'm picking up to do the button band. So that's why it's all cinched up. I'm halfway through the button band, like halfway through the row. So 3 more rows of ribbing, and I'll be completely done with this in time for PSLE. So this will be the first handmade gift I would finish this year. And so guess what? Then, because my oldest daughter has been touching and feeling this particular jacket, she has decided that she also wants a cardigan made from this yarn. So I have another project to complete before Christmas.
This yarn is really cozy though.
It is. Yeah. So it's really nice. It's a cotton base. It's really cotton. So it's not going to be hard to maintain because it's not wool. So I guess the one thing I find with children or teens is that don't expect them to take very good care of their outfits. So hand-dyed yarns, wool, this, I don't know. I just don't feel like it's worth the effort.
unless I mean, if it's an item that doesn't require frequent washing, then it's not too bad. But if it is something that they will wear frequently, like a khadi, like because every time they're in a colder place, they will wear it.
Yes.
And if they tend to eat or drink when they're wearing it, then it's a bit fussy.
Not just that, because my kids tend to carry tote bags, so then it will like rub quite a bit.
And then
right?
you will peel very fast.
So this is the first handmade gift that will be done. It's going to be, I think it will be off the hook, off the needles by like next week latest, then I'll be done. This is the first piece. So if you are going to make a piece of clothing item for a handmade gift, I think a couple of things to think about. If you intend to work with very lighter weight yarns, be realistic about the amount of time you need. I don't knit very fast. So if I knit with, let's say, fingering weight, can take me anywhere from about 3 to 4 months to finish a short sleeve top. And also, knowing that I cycle between projects.
And also be realistic about how much time you have spare out of your work, your home commitments and everything. There's no need to give yourself stress. I mean, the whole point of gift making is because you enjoy doing this and you want to share this with someone. So you want to gift it to someone, right?
Correct.
So if you want joy in the process. So you don't want to be like, oh, I need to finish it.
You want the gift to have positive thoughts accompanying it. So if you're going to make like more like summer wear, like a day-to-day top, actually what we carry, the Crafters Hub Bamboo Soft, is a very good option if you want something that is not going to blow your budget. The other one that I find quite nice, because I take a while to make my top, so I tend to maybe use I tend to go for a better grade yarn. Our sea silk lace and flaxen silk from Sweet Georgia yarn that we carry from Sweet Georgia yarn. Some new colors have arrived, and they knit up to really nice tops. I've made 2 tops.
And if you want color gradient without having to change yarns, the Shapjis wools work well. They are sport weight yarns, so they are not too thin. And it's if you want to do like a top down, the whole gradient will show through. So
and we also have quite a number of new yarns from Universal Yarn, the cotton fingering weight yarns, which are
bamboo
great.
pop sock, I think would work nice.
Yes. And then the camouflage, the creative cotton camouflage is not too bad. If you are keen to make something, but you're a bit pressed for time, then the other way is, of course, to use thicker yarn. So the DK weight yarns, I think we have the Cumulus cotton. Jojo Yarn also recently has a new color cake, a cotton color cake that is here. So that would work out a lot quicker. But you might not want to make it something that is for like outdoor wear, day-to-day outdoor wear in Singapore. Maybe a cardigan or a sweater would work better.
And if you're looking at something where you don't have to fuss too much with shaping, because this has shaping, right? You need to decrease, you need to increase, you need to take measurements. Right, because if you are making for someone, you need to know roughly what size they are, right? And if this recipient is either not someone you can meet face to face to say, hey, can I measure you?
Or this gift is meant to be a surprise.
Or it's meant for an overseas friend or someone, then, things that are one size fits all might work. So something like a woven shawl. So something like this is...
Or a scarf.
It's simple. It is very functional. You can use it even if you're not in a particularly cold location, because you can choose the material to fit the climate. Like this one that I have is a cotton and tensile shawl. So it was hand-dyed, hand-woven. And you can customize. If you are doing this, you can customize your friend or your family's favorite colors. You can put together a palette that this person will like.
And in case you're wondering, I mean, of course you can knit or crochet a shawl or scarf as well. But we do know from experience that weaving can go a lot faster. And weaving, you could, even if you're not very familiar with the craft itself, it is still something you can do while watching Netflix. So some of you may ask, but then we don't have a loom. So maybe we'll share this story. Like quite recently, we had a customer who came to do the weaver's scarf class, and then after that, she decided that she was going to make multiple scarves as gifts. So what she did was she rented the loom. Now, when you rent the loom, of course, you will be wondering, don't you need to learn how to warp the loom? So you can always opt to take a like a crash course with us just to learn to work the loom and then manage it on your own at home while you have the rent of the loom for a month or however number of weeks you want to rent the loom. You also have with this customer, her work schedule just didn't allow her to kind of take the class with us, to do the crash course with us. And she was kind of in a press for time. So what we then offered is we offer, for the rigid header loom, we do offer a service where we warp the loom for you. Yeah. Now, if you're renting a loom with us and the yarns, well, okay, you don't actually have to buy the yarns from us, but you have to drop the yarns off. Yeah. So what we did was there was a tag team system. We will warp up one loom, she will take it home, and while she's weaving on that loom, she had already made the purchase for the next yarn. So the next yarn, next set of warp yarns, we would have already put it on the loom. So when she finishes one project, she just has to drop off that rental loom, pick up another rental loom. So there's no downtime in between.
Because for her after work hours are free. So she can't come into the studio because they're also closed. Yeah. But she can work on the project.
Yes. So what she does is there's a tag team system. She'll come in with an empty loom, drop it off, pick up the one that's warped. Means prepay lah. She would have prepaid for all the services.
Yeah. Strictly speaking, her husband did that.
But you know that kind of arrangement would work. And she actually I think did about 9 scarves in the period of 3 weeks. I mean, of course, we don't expect that everybody will weave that quickly, but
weaving is an option to churn out projects fast.
Yes.
Yeah, because it requires...
You don't even need to think about colors. Like in that particular customer's case, she just cycled between hand-dyed yarns, because hand-dyed yarns have a very rated look, or the Shipjays fine art, the wool-based one, because she wanted all her scarves to be wool-based, or some kind of wool blend. So that's what she did. But I'm pretty sure you can do that with like the cumulus, the juju yarn,
any yarn.
Yeah, whether it's the alpaca, the cotton, you know, it's always a conversation we can have with you if you're interested. But we do have limited looms that can go out on rental, especially if you're thinking of doing a shawl. And that's a much larger loom size.
But for something like this, I mean, granted, I've been weaving a while, but the actual weaving didn't take me more than 2 days.
Yeah. Generally, it's fast compared to knitting and crochet. So this is, of course, another option. As in, I think there's a crochet. Then Huilian is a knitted shawl.
So this is a knitted shawl with beads. So this one does take a while.
Yes, that takes quite a bit of time.
It was a test knit that I did, and it took me about 3 weeks to finish. And this was...
If it takes her 3 weeks, then it's going to take me 6 months. Too late to start for Christmas gift now.
So this one took about 1,000 or so beads, 900 plus beads, but it's very pretty and drapey. So this kind of project,
next year's Christmas,
you might not want to say, oh, let me give all my best friends one, because
then you need to start now.
Yeah, it will take a while.
For like next year.
Yeah, but for those who crochet fast, something like this with a gradient cake, it doesn't take too long. I started this project and finished mostly up to the very light colored section here, and it took me about 2 days. And then I stopped for 6 months, and I didn't touch the project.
2 days, just so you all know, the multiplier is maybe you need times 6.
No, but there are those who crochet do quite fast lah. Then
I don't think they are watching our video already. They really like, you know.
So then this next section where mostly the blue is, it took me about another 2 days to finish. So those of you who are looking to churn out projects fast and who are familiar with, you know, crochet does go pretty fast when you have a big hook and, you know.
Oh, and another thing, you may think that it takes 2 days to do this section, but you need to know that you get more and more stitches as you go out.
It gets longer and longer and longer.
So 2 days here, maybe 4 days here.
But one thing that is important, how to get through your making without too much stress, and that is to not be too distressed if your pattern doesn't go, or if what you're making doesn't go with the pattern sometimes. Like if you have a miscount in stitches, are you going to undo every single stitch that you have? You
don't really need some stitch somewhere.
So I have mistakes here. I know where the mistakes are, and it's fine. You fudge around it just to...
I don't think your recipient will know.
And it doesn't really show. I mean, no one's going to examine the whole thing and say, hey, you've got a mistake here.
Anyway, I mean, this whole concept of like imperfection is also You know, if it's completely perfect, then who's to know that you made it? I could have just gone to a shop, bought it, and then claim I made it, right? The machine could have done it, and then I can just claim that I did it, and who would have known better, right? So if you're going to, I think, handmade a gift, then you just got to accept that you're human, so is the recipient. And then, yeah, we have our flaws, so be it. Yeah. Then, of course, some of you will be asking, it's hard to do a project on your own. Like, there isn't a lot of motivation. So, we have recently launched a series of craft jamming workshops. So, now craft jamming, just to clarify, that it's not really an instructional based class. There will be some amount of guidance, but it's really more like a group of people coming together to work on a similar project. So craft jamming is like we just come, we chit chat, we help each other along. But the whole aim is these are projects where you really go home with something completed.
Yeah. So every jamming session has kind of a theme where you are working on a specific
The type of craft that you are. Because sometimes it's hard to start on something new on your own, or something that you haven't done and you just want to try. It's one way to go. We don't do craft jamming for knitting and crochet because that's something that I think it's harder for everybody to be at the same pace.
Yeah,
it creates a lot more stress actually.
Because everybody needs a different pace, a different tension.
Yeah, so we
your intended project, even if we choose the same pattern, you'll be like, oh, how come they all look different?
Yeah,
am I doing something wrong?
Yeah, point we told is like our make along for the bolero. Some of us have finished, some of them have finished, and some of us are still in the ribbing stage. But yes, so the upcoming craft jamming, one of the recent craft jamming that we are doing in September is the Sashiko one. Basically, it's just going to be 3 sessions where we come together. People get to pick like the stitches they want to try, and then when you do, of course, you can do the whole panel to be the same stitch, and then you can have something that you can then choose to convert to a bag, frame it up as a gift, whatsoever. But you also have the options of doing like different sampler designs. So this is actually our Sashiko project.
Something like this can be converted to a cushion cover.
Yes, correct. Right. So the whole idea is then the stitches actually are not going to take a lot of despite the fact that we all may have slightly different designs, it's not likely to take us very big difference in time. Yeah, and then of course we can see how different people do it, whether some people, because they might have some experience with stitching, they have certain tips that can help the rest. So that's really what we intend to do with the craft jamming sessions. Besides Sashiko, I think the other craft jamming that we do, some of it is doodling, art doodling, pastel. We are also trying to push out things like cross stitch, because doing cross stitch on your own, some people find it hard to stay motivated. Like, it's a project that's easy to procrastinate on.
Yeah, and you need to have a setup. Like cross stitch, you need to have the charts out, you need to have your threads out. So
actually now don't need charts because cross stitch got printed cross stitch.
But because you have your threads out, you have your needles and everything, then it's not really something you do on the go.
Yes.
It is something where you probably want to just sit down at a spot and do it. It's not like knitting and crochet where you see people doing it on a bus and tray.
Yeah.
Because your needles are not too pokey and they're not tiny. You don't have to do the threading.
Yes. So I think the cross stitch one will be about 3 weeks as well. We will provide a small little kit for you to start, of course, to complete. The reason why we do provide a kit is really so that we can ensure that you will at least finish the project.
And the correct tools are already provided. Yeah. So you don't have to go sourcing for the tools and go, am I using the right thing? Is this the right pair of scissors? Do I use this type of needles? Because there are so many different types of needles. Yeah.
Another thing that I've been working on is this satin stitch embroidery with cloth. This is a Vicar Space collab with needles threads, I think. So we're not going to offer this definitely as a class, but we will be offering projects similar to this, maybe not with the cloth element, but where there's a design already printed and then we're just stitching over it, just so that I find last year I did the stitch along for the 2022 stitch along. I never finished it because it got too boring after a while, like doing it by myself. It's just like
but I mean, there are groups that do stitch along. I'm in part of this group, but I have not really been committing myself to it. They do like one pattern, one patch per week.
So there are a lot of these online groups, and we realize that it's hard lah. Like Hui Len say, even she finds it difficult to stay motivated. So our craft jamming is kind of a bit like that. It's like a do along, make along for a fixed number of sessions. So it also doesn't go on like forever. Some sessions are once off, some sessions are free. Yeah. But if you have something that you would like us to offer as a craft jamming or an interest group kind of thing where we just provide a space for people to come and hang out and do together, do let us know. We do have weekends are a bit challenging, but we do have weekday mornings and weekday evenings where we can host
weekends.
groups.
It depends. We had just had a group recently that came in to do spinning on their own, and it was enjoyable. They all enjoyed it. Some were new to spinning, but you have someone who's like just took it up as a hobby and say, oh, I really enjoy it, I want to share with my friends. So they came together and did the spinning together. Yeah. And gifts doesn't have to be like major, like big size. I mean, there are a lot of gifts that you could make that are simple and functional and don't take too much time. Like if you know how to knit, crochet or weave or do sewing, you can make so many small little functional things.
Oh yes.
Like card holders, coin pouches.
Oh yeah, recently I did 30 coin pouches for Teachers' Day.
Yeah.
So those are things that you can do. I think the whole idea is start thinking now. So you also have time to get the materials. And sometimes if you're not in a rush to get the materials, you have more options. Yeah, so you then have to, you will be able to
shop
like
around
plan,
and wait for the things to come if you're ordering from overseas. Yeah, and then it's like the whole joy of making is looking forward to the project, right? Like you look at a pattern and go, oh, I think this would look good on someone. And then you go, okay, I'm looking forward to using what kind of yarn for this. And then I'm like, oh, okay.
What kind of cloth?
Yeah, it's like what kind of outcome would you get along the way? You may be picking up new skills because, oh, I've never done this type of sewing or I've never done this type of stitching. But you get to pick up something new and then you make something and it goes with your positive vibes.
If it's your first time hand making gifts, then another tip is also to start small. Don't hand make for everybody in your recipient list. Maybe consider who are the really, really important people in your recipient list and just hand make for that group. You can also make it a tradition. We have had a customer once who told us that with her children and her husband, so they have this family tradition, which is every year they will each need to go and learn one new, or rather experience, not learn, experience one making technique, and then they will then make presents for the other 4 of them, because it's a family of 5, so the other 4 of them with that technique. So she said the reason why they did it is because they wanted their children to try new things, right? Because the first thing that you try you might not enjoy, and to be curious that there's just so many ways of making things. The gifts don't have to be big. So she emphasized that the gifts don't have to be big. She always tell the children it's about having the exposure, and so they made it a family tradition
for quite a few years.
For quite a few years, and sometimes they go together to learn. Sometimes they go on their own to learn. So it's really like just what are you curious about? You know, it's always individually what they are curious about, and then they just pick it up. If someone else is in the family is curious, then they go together. If not, then they just go by themselves. And she said actually, but you know, then outside of that, like their immediate family, then everybody else get like commercially bought gifts because they just don't have enough time to make so many.
Because this can be part of your personal journey. Like there's one customer who makes it a point for 2022 and 2023 that every month she signs up for something she has not tried. It can be, it doesn't have to be making. It could be things like
yoga.
It's just something new that she has not tried. So she's taken several classes with us. But she's gone on to do pottery. She's gone on to do other stuff. And
wine tasting, for example.
Along the way, it's just fun.
I guess it's it's a gift you can give yourself. So while you're doing things for other people, also consider gifting yourself that experience.
Some people just enjoy learning.
I do. That's why I have so many random things in my mind and so many random projects on my desk. Okay, I think that is about it. I think next month we intend to talk about blocking your projects, because I guess if you finish your projects, you might need some tips on how to make them look good.
There are some things that don't need very complex finishing methods to make them look good. Some things don't look too good until you finish it.
Yeah, so I think we intend to, of course, upcoming we'll intend to talk about blocking. Then I think we will do a recap. At the end of the year, I think we will do a review. Remember our first video of the year when we talk about the projects that we wanted to do for 2023? I've gone so far off on a tangent with those list of projects.
I'm not sure I did do planning because I cannot remember if I did. But yeah.
Oh, well, yes, we'll do a recap at the end of the year. But if you have questions about blocking and you would like us to address them in in an upcoming video, do drop us a note so we kind of know and what kind of examples we need to give. But till then, ta-da!
Yeah.
Good luck with your making.
Yes. Start planning.